Leningrad was surrounded on 18 September 1941. You can see on this map, the green is where the German troops are. The yellow on the left is Leningrad front and Leningrad itself. The yellow on the right is Volkhov front. They tried to reunite again, but they failed. The siege of Leningrad lasted for 872 days. It was lifted on 27 January 1944. In winter months of 1941, the two fronts were connected only by an ice road. Here on this map, what you see is actually not the road on ice, but a road across the water of the Lake Ladoga. The ships that tried to reach Leningrad were bombed all the time by the Germans. In winter, the bombing continued, and the ice road was a very dangerous one. It was called Road of Life. Along this road, some food was delivered to Leningrad, and people were evacuated. About 1 million of people were evacuated on this ice, but the road was incredibly dangerous. Not only because of bombing, but because the ice melted. You can see here the lorry, which is half in water, and just pay attention to one small detail. The door of the driver's door is opened. This is a precaution against the drowning, because if the lorry goes under the water, the driver had a hope of jumping out and swimming out, despite the fact that the water was icy. But many of them traveled like that. Again, it was a very, very dangerous road. Still, it was the only one available to Leningrad. Despite the fact that some food was delivered, the first winter was deadly for Leningrad. The daily amount of bread in these winter months was 125 grams a day per person. That was all that many of Leningraders had for the whole day. This obviously resulted in starvation. There were no coffins, no heating, there was no electricity. People were cold and starving. So what they could do is actually take their dead, the way you can see now in this picture, just dragging them somewhere close to the cemetery. And even that became more difficult because people were weakened. They could not walk. The picture on the left is of the bodies which were during the winter just left there because nobody could bury them. And in the spring, of course, when the snow was gone, all these bodies became visible. About 630,000 people died in Leningrad of starvation and artillery fire. And this is just an official figure. As I said, the way to Moscow was now open. The Soviet army put up a fierce fight. The battles of Smolensk and Kiev and the defense of Leningrad delayed German advance. The Blitz slowed down, but the German army was still too strong. It could not be stopped by the Soviets at that time. On 13th October 1941, 600,000 Soviet troops were surrounded at Vyazma. You can see it on this map. It is the yellow patch closest to Moscow. The road to Moscow was from that time completely open. Vyazma is just about 200 kilometers from Moscow. On 15th October, Stalin informed the top leadership that the Germans could be in Moscow within days.